Hi friends, and welcome to another video. Today we are making Heartseeker ASHE from League of Legends. For my base doll I'm going to use this old Ever After High doll. She's very damaged, but I think her structure will be a great base for ASHE. I've printed out a few reference images. These two are all for splash art, and I've also got her in-game model printed out. So we're ready to start! I'll begin by cutting off her really damaged hair, then I'll remove her face and prep her for the makeover. Bye Raven! Her hair is short now, which makes her remind me of Dolores from the Cranberries. Please tell me you see it too. Now it's time to remove her face with acetone. Now her face is clean and it's time to remove the head. The head is now ready and I'm going to start cleaning it straight away. The doll's head is now completely clean. Now I'm going to get rid of any fat remarks on the doll's body. And after this step, the doll is ready for her makeover. Let's start her hair. Ashe's hair is parted on the sides, so I'm going to have to mod her hairline. For that, I'm just going to mark dots where I want the extra hair to go. Next, I'm going to paint her head with silver acrylic paint. This is what she looks like after a few layers, and so I jump right into punching the holes for the new hair. For the hair, I'm going to use synthetic hair extensions. I think this silver shade is perfect, plus this hair is heat resistant, so I can curl it later. This is my first time rerouting a full head of doll hair. Wish me luck, please. Okay guys, this took me literally an entire day, but I think she's slaying. I'm quite happy with my first attempt. It's time for her face up. I primed her face with Mr. Super Clear and now I'm using watercolor pencils to sketch out her face. Then I go in with some eyeshadow to create her blush and contour. I'm going to use watercolor pencils again to build up on my sketch, adding base shades first and sealing in between layers. The face is ready and I can now gloss her eyes and lips. Now I'm gonna make her fashions. I drafted some quick patterns for the doll clothes and gathered these gorgeous fabrics from my stash. These are all leftovers from cosplays I made in the past. If you're here from my cosplay days, can you remember which costumes these are from? I'll be really surprised if anyone remembers. So after cutting each pattern with the correct fabric, I'm laying out and trying to figure out how to do this. My initial plan was to make the sleeves part of the dress, but it would make it hard to dress her sleeves through. So I might have to make a jacket and a sleeveless dress instead. While I make my mind up about this, let's start making the sleeves. After a few hours of hand sewing, we have the base for the jacket. Now I just need to pin it inside out and sew the edges. And now I'm adding the heart applique to the sides, and next we're making gold trim miniature version. I begin applying the gold trim to all the raw edges of the jacket. Before sewing and gluing the gold trim, I pin it in place to secure. I really took my time with this process. It took me almost a full day to make this jacket, but it's looking good, so I think it was worth it. Although it's missing one final detail. I'm casting and sanding a little golden heart for the closure. And the jacket is finally done! For the dress I changed the pattern a bit to be sleeveless, but I'm also reusing the same fabric for these panels, and for the closure I'm using some velcro on the back of the dress. Adding a little bit of gold trim to finish the details on the dress. And voila, the dress is finished. Now we can move on to some cape making. This is the back panel. I made a seam down in the middle because it was more convenient for me to cut these as two separate panels, since I'm working with fabric leftovers, but in theory they should be cut in one piece. For the gold applique, I drew it on sticker paper and then glued it to the back of the spandex and applied. Okay, let's see if my sewing machine is willing to cooperate with this. I added some more gold trim all around, and now our cape is almost ready. I patterned and cut out a couple of fabric pieces, and now I just need to hand sew them to the top of the cape to create the closure. I think I aced this invisible stitch. Now I need to finish the other side. I have to admit that this turned out better than I expected. Now I just need to add a closure. And then I finish it off by casting the heart detail out of UV resin. And the little heart detail is done, which means the cape is ready. Making the bow and arrows. So for the bow and arrows, I've printed off and cut the reference and traced it onto a bit of foam board. Now I just need to cut it out. I've also given all the edges a 45-degree cut. And now I just need to assemble both sides of the bow, and I'm using a barbecue stick cut to size, and then I can begin adding details using EVA foam. Once I'm happy with the shape of my bow, I can cover it with black worbla. Black worbla is pretty similar to regular warbler, but it's easier to work with. Now I'm about to potentially sacrifice my soldering iron to heat sculpt some more details on the bow. Okay, my soldering iron survived, and I think this technique worked better than sanding. Now I can prime the bow with some Mod Podge. For the arrows, I'm using cotton buds. I removed all the cotton from the little sticks, and now I'll create the arrow details out of EVA foam. When the arrows are ready, I can cover them with worbla. Now the props are all ready for the paint job. I've primed the arrows off cam, and I've also made 2 little hearts. I'm going to use yellow acrylic as a base tone for the golden parts. And now I can finally paint over with this gorgeous hot chrome pink. And finally, I'm going to use this copper paint to add details to the golden parts of the bow. Now it just needs a few highlights in white. I'm using a Posca acrylic pen since these are really good for small details. I think it's looking good, so I'm going to take these outside to seal with gloss spray, and the bow and arrows are done. Now I just need to make the quiver. I made a simple pattern and I proceeded to cut it out of EVA foam. Our foam base for the quiver is ready, and now I can begin embellishing it with shiny spandex. The quiver is ready, and now we can finally move on onto the rest of her accessories, starting with her gloves. And for that I'm just going to paint her hands white, and I'm going to use these little tiny bits of matching fabric from what we've been using before, and I'm going to cut some EVA pieces in shape of bracers and then cover them in this white fabric. The gloves are looking good, and now it's time to style her hair. Her hair is ready, and it's time to start working on her shoes. Heartseeker ASHE wears iconic purple over the knee boots with some lace details on top, which I'm going to try and replicate, using the same spandex we used before. Now I'm going to build the soles for her boots. Ashe's boots feature a wedge heel, so I'm going to sculpt that shape. Finally, I just need to cover the wedges in matching purple spandex. Now I just need to add some red details to the sides. I just cut these out of EVA, wrapped them in red velvet and applied with glue. Now I just need to glue the inner sole to the wedge pump and the shoes are ready. Well, almost ready. I still need to paint the soles red. Okay, now the boots are ready and it's time to assemble the doll.